I think that Chelsea could have spent that 600 million they've spent and put all of that into getting philosophical leaders, religious experts, tactical superstars. Get all of them in a room and let's find out what Kai Havertz's best position is. I see this guy, and he's like, for me, he's everything I like as a footballer. He doesn't quite look like a footballer. He's a bit too tall and gangly, but he kind of combines that with this magnificent first touch and a real intelligence, a footballing intelligence. But then that's counterbalanced with this thing that I didn't think he had it at first, but there is a bit of the Timo Werners about him in that nothing more than you see him execute things really well, but he seems to have no confidence. It's like watching a player play with the yips. And I don't know if it's infected him, but I mean, Elizabeth, you'll remember he had this lovely lob over Bernd Leno on Friday night.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful bit of technique, but not for a moment did I get the sense he and absolutely no one at the stadium thought that it was going in, because it all just feels like no one quite believes in Kai Havertz anymore, which for the talent of the guy, I remember speaking to him at the very end of his first season, and I think it gave me a sense for why this has all been so difficult. He moved during COVID. He had COVID himself, quite a bad bout of it. But he moved and couldn't really bring his family over, couldn't make friends and settle in London. I don't know to what extent that's changed, but I think when you get in a tough rhythm early on as a new signing, as a person coming to a new country, and of course, let's remember he moved from Leverkusen, which is many things, but it's not a big global metropolis. And he moved to London, and he moved to Cobham or Surrey or wherever he lives. It's a very different style of living. Again, Elizabeth, trying to get the fans' view on this. Is there still patience? Is there still belief that Havertz will turn this around? And what do you think is his best position?
That's a tough one. In terms of the fan perspective on him, I think that it's quite mixed. A lot of people have a lot of love for Havertz, of course, for what he did in the Champions League. But I think the consensus is starting to be, okay, you did that. That was magnificent. Won us the Champions League. But what else are you going to do? Because he's had now 3 seasons in the Premier League where he just hasn't quite popped off just yet. And like you said, I do think that he's a really talented player. I think he's lacking a little bit of confidence right now because he gets opportunities and it's just not going his way. So maybe if he can start scoring goals, they might start coming. I think with Joao Felix, he could develop a good partnership. So I'm excited to see that. What's his best position? I honestly couldn't tell you because we've seen him play all across the attack. We've seen him as a false 9, as an actual 9. We've seen him as an 8, as a 10, on the right wing, sometimes on the left as well. And I don't feel that he's had any standout performance. I think maybe centrally he's been the best that I've seen him, but I wouldn't say that that's definitely his out.
You do need a backup right back.
He probably could, knowing him. I agree with what you're saying, but let's go back a season ago with all the chaos happening at the club. It was Kai Havertz who was the one bright spot for Chelsea in attack. So I love what you said about reminding our viewers and Chelsea fans in particular that this is a guy who won you the Champions League. I look at what he did for Germany coming off the bench. He's not an out-and-out striker. We know that. Watching him in the Bundesliga before he came to Chelsea Football Club, he was used as kind of this free-flowing attacking midfielder. Could flow out to the wings. When you watched him in his best season for Chelsea, he had the freedom to play underneath a striker. And no, was Romelu Lukaku brilliant at his time as Chelsea? No, that's why he's at Inter. But I think playing with an out-and-out striker, you saw him in Germany playing with Füllkrug. And what happened? Goals went in. He's a player that needs to play off of someone and have the freedom to get him behind. The problem with that is Joao Felix is ahead of him, and he's a player that likes to have that freedom as well.
Yeah, exactly. But Joao Felix is also a similar type of player in the fact that he doesn't like to be the out-and-out striker. He likes to play off of a striker and be the one kind of in behind. But maybe they could develop a partnership and kind of play off of each other. So I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch.
That would be quite fun. I'd be well up for seeing that. And I think there's probably quite a lot of time, it's fair to say, to experiment. I mean, I do, however, want to hit one thing on the head that you were both saying about Champions League winning goal. I just don't have any tract with that as an argument. Like Giuliano Belletti has scored a Champions League winning goal.
Ooh.
Doesn't mean I want to count him as a great player, and I wouldn't want to give him any more patience. But I mean, equally, that's a little bit facetious because clearly there's a huge amount of talent with Havertz, which he delivered on the biggest stage, but very much struggles too in the middling games. Let's be frank, though, middling games. That's what it's ahead of Chelsea out of both domestic cups, thanks to pesky Manchester City. Mid-table in the Premier League, you know, Mike, you asked the question. This may be it for the Champions League. Elizabeth, what are the hopes and expectations? Are we looking at this as a development season? Do Chelsea fans believe that they could win the Champions League? I mean, you won't need reminding, but some people will. Our listeners might. That although things weren't quite this bad when Thomas Tuchel came in, absolutely no one had them pegged for Champions League winners that season. So does that, you know, is there a scintilla of hope there that might be the thing for the season?
A lot of people, you know, make that comparison. Like both times that we've won the Champions League, we didn't have a good season in the Premier League, and then we went on to win the Champions League. So I think you'll find some people that will definitely say, yeah, it's a possibility. For me, I think the recent performances, I don't know. I think that it would be way far out there because there's a lot of teams in Europe that are having much better seasons than we are. And like you said, Chelsea haven't been scoring goals. So they really need to sort that problem out first. In terms of how I see Chelsea going forward, I think that in recent years, we've been used to this instant gratification of, okay, we bring in a new manager, we win a trophy. He's not performing well. We sack him. We bring him somebody else who's going to win a trophy. And I think what Todd Boehly and co are doing is saying, okay, this isn't functional for the long term. Let's find a way that we can make Chelsea this powerhouse over the next 5-10 years and invest in that. So at least for me personally, what I can speak on is I'm more than happy to have a year or two of transition in order to hopefully see Chelsea a challenge for the Premier League again, which is something that we haven't done in 7-8 years, if I'm doing my math right, to see them challenging consistently for the Champions League. So I do think that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. I don't necessarily see us winning a trophy this season, but I think next season, hopefully we can start to see the building blocks come together and start putting together something truly special.
Elizabeth, final question for me. Let's put our imaginary hats on. You wake up tomorrow and you are now the sporting director of Chelsea Football Club. You know you need a number 9. Who are you going for in the next window?
Oh God, I don't know, Mike. Like Chelsea haven't had the best of luck with number 9s, as you know. We've had a bit of a curse. I saw a shot for Awesome. I don't think I'm pronouncing his name right. Awesome man. Yeah, I'm a little nervous with strikers from Serie A, to be honest with you. But I think that could honestly be a shout. We also do have Nkunku coming in from RB Leipzig. He's not an out-and-out number 9, but I think that he's also going to be helping with the attacking threat in the summer as well. So that's basically where I stand. I think Chelsea have a lot of attackers come next season, and it'll just be about getting them all to gain chemistry, understand one another, gel, and start scoring goals.